A few weeks ago, I did a video about remakes versus originals, and on there I had a list of the originals that were obviously better than the remakes. Now, this week I'm doing a list of movies that the remake is either better than the original or at least good enough that it stands on its own merits. Now, talking about these, I decided I wasn't going to go with the obvious ones. I wasn't going to talk about The Thing or The Fly or The Blob. Those are incredible remakes, but that would be three easy ones right there. So I decided to kind of go a little bit deeper and look at some of my other personal favorites. The first one is the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead. This was a remake of the original George Romero 1978 version, and they took the basic concept of a bunch of people stuck in a mall during a zombie outbreak. And really, the two movies couldn't be any more different. The things that they did in the mall, completely different. The whole feeling of it, completely different. The fact that the zombies were the runners as opposed to the ones from the 1978 version, which were the slow shambling zombies. The opening sequence where Sarah Polly is running away from the little girl zombie and gets in a car and drives, and it was just terrific. It was so well done. I was just majorly impressed, and from then on, it put Zack Snyder on my map. The guy's yet to let me down. I know a lot of people have complained about Sucker Punch, but I personally liked it. So Dawn of the Dead 2004 is a terrific movie. I love it. It's one of my favorite zombie movies, but it's not better than the original. Next up is the 2010 Piranha 3D. This was a remake of the 1978 Piranha. Now, the original was a little silly, and it was kind of playing off the success of Jaws. I do enjoy it, more on a campy level. That's kind of also how I feel about Piranha 3D. It is a very expensive, campy horror movie, comparatively speaking. I mean, it's not Transformers budget, but it still had a pretty decent budget. And I could have done without the 3D. I didn't think it was necessary, but that's just something that we're stuck with nowadays. Seeing Kelly Brook in the movie was terrific. She is just stunningly beautiful, and having her and Riley Steele do the naked underwater swimming montage thing was just awesome. It was so exploitation-y. It was great. So in this case, with the remake, I actually enjoyed the remake more than the original. Alexander Aja, like I said before, is a terrific director. I love the guy. And with the exception of Mirrors, I didn't dislike Mirrors, but thought that was definitely the weakest of all the things that he's directed. So Piranha 3D, really good. Keeping with Alexander Aja, I'm going to talk about the 2006 version of The Hills Have Eyes. This was a remake of the 1977 Wes Craven movie. They were relatively similar, but the remake I thought was much more brutal. It packed a much greater punch. It just felt more solid. Ted Levine was fantastic in the remake. It just worked better for me. I thought that the original was very good, and you can't go wrong with Michael Berryman. And the remake, it was different enough from the original that it did feel like its own thing. The original's good. It showed Wes Craven's early directorial skills. It was very unnerving for the time. Now you kind of look at it, and some people think it's a little bit too campy. I still think it has that cool kind of uncomfortable 70s vibe to it, and the remake had much more brutality to it. So this is one where I think the remake and the original are on par with each other. Two very good movies. Next up is the 1986 Little Shop of Horrors, and this was a remake of the 1960 Little Shop of Horrors that was directed by Roger Corman. Now, the remake was directed by Frank Oz. This was his second time directing, and it is definitely in my top 100 favorite films of all time. I've seen it countless times. I love the music of it. It's just a great movie. I mean, Steve Martin, back when he, would play like an ass, well, the funny kind of ass, not the Pink Panther kind of ass. The original, I never got into. For me personally, I always felt the remake blew the original out of the water. It was so much better, and I love it to bits. And lastly, I'm going to kind of throw a little bit of a curveball here. This is something that you're probably not expecting, but I'm going to talk about Disturbia. This was the 2007 movie with Shia LaBeouf, and I thought I was going to hate it, but I ended up really enjoying it. This was a loose remake of the 1954 movie Rear Window, and again, this is how you do a remake. They took the basic concept. Now, in the original, Jimmy Stewart was stuck in a wheelchair, and he was a photographer who is taking pictures out of his window, and he thinks that one of his neighbors committed murder. Now, in the remake, Shia LaBeouf is a little angry wiener kid that punches his teacher in the face, and he gets stuck under house arrest. And so he's spying on his ridiculously hot neighbor, played by Sarah Romer. And when he's not spying on her walking around in a bikini, he notices that his new neighbor, played by the incredible David Morse, that he may be a murderer. But the two movies play out completely different. And this was before Shia LaBeouf really kind of became tied to the whole Transformers movies and him running around going, no, 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 no. He was actually really good in this. The kid is a very good actor. I used to watch him on Disney Channel where he was in Even Stevens with the so freaking cute Christy Carlson Romano. He was funny, he was good, he was a goofy kid, and he did very well in that. And he started popping up in movies here and there. He was in Constantine, he was in iRobot, and he was good. I like the kid. And then, he did Disturbia, and he was very good in this. Later that year, he was in Transformers. That was when he kind of really blew up. For some reason, people started directing him like a dick. I just didn't like his character in Transformers. I didn't like his character at all in Crystal Skull. I just found myself getting really tired of him, really quickly. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe now with Transformers done, he can get back to maybe being a good actor. But anyway, Disturbia, it's a good movie. It's solid, but there's no way that it is better than Rear Window. The acting in Disturbia was very good, but the directing in Rear Window, it was Hitchcock, is just incredible. It was such a good movie. So this is one where the original is still better, but the remake is good enough in its own way to stand on its own 2 feet, to stand out apart from the original. So Dawn of the Dead, Piranha, Hills Have Eyes, Little Shop of Horrors, and Disturbia. 5 remakes that are very good in their own way. And that was a bit more difficult than I realized. If you haven't seen any of these movies, I do recommend you check them out, both the originals and the remakes. So stay tuned for next week is going to be number 99. And I promise you, you won't want to miss this one. The wait will be worth it.